Hello, I'm Terry Kolath. I'm here today with Robert Maycomber, internationally renowned author and lecturer. And we're talking about his latest class in the Academy of Lifelong Learning. And this one is Confederate Generals in Union Blue, 33 years later. Robert, as always, we welcome you to Shell Point.
I have so many friends here that it's always a pleasure, it's a delight for me to come here. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this fascinating part of our American history.
And I love how we talk about you as an author, but to be the author you are, you're an incredible researcher. And you're constantly finding more and more about our country and other parts of the world that really kind of ties things together for us.
Yes, you know, my specialty area is the Victorian Edwardian age, which was basically from the Civil War to World War I. And in that time period, our country went from being a continental country to a global power. And I have long been fascinated by the story of how that happened. Mm-hmm. Part of how that happened involves two men who were very famous Confederate generals, combat generals in the Civil War, and who 33 years later became very famous Union generals for the United States Army. Fascinating. It is fascinating. And it's a great study of personalities because, you know, history is the story of people. Mm-hmm. And they make decisions and they have to deal with the consequences, and frequently a whole lot of other people have to. Mm-hmm. And those decisions and those consequences are the foundation of how America became who we are now. And so these two unique men in history I'm going to talk about, these two generals, these two men who not only fought against the United States, but then served the United States. And they served it very, very well. And they helped to heal the division between North and South 3 decades after the war.
Well, those are some skills that would really come in handy in these days.
Yes, yes. Reconciliation was the crucial factor in mending our broken country in those days, from the Civil War to about turn of the century. Yeah. And you know, I grew up here in Robert E. Lee County.
Yes.
And memories are very, very long in the South. Mm-hmm. But these events in the Spanish-American War helped to heal some of the really open wounds that had prevailed for the previous 30 years after the Civil War.
This is fascinating. And I love the fact that things are happening, history's moving on, it's a timeline, but these interweaving personalities are, and that must be really wonderful when you're researching.
It's, you know, I use the word fascinating a lot. It's just fascinating to meet these men who are long gone, but their legacy is with us. Yeah. And the consequences of those decisions. So we all are the descendants. It doesn't matter where you grew up. We're all the descendants of these people. And we're living now in a world that was helped to be formed by them.
And the repercussions are just everywhere.
Yeah.
Still fascinating.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I know you don't want to give anything away about who these two generals are until the class.
We'll talk about it in the class.
All right. It'll be worth coming to.
One was, I'll tell you what they look like.
Okay.
One was a huge guy, several hundred pounds.
Really?
About 300. And the other one was a little skinny, bandy-legged, feisty guy. And raring to go.
Did they know each other?
They did know each other during the Confederate Army days, and also afterwards. They were both politicians, and they ended up serving in the United States Army again 33 years later. Now, both of them had served in the Army, as had many Confederate officers. They'd served in the U.S. Army just before the war. And they resigned their commissions and they defended their states. And so it's just kind of unique that these men who went to the United States Military Academy and then left to join the Confederate Army, fought, lost, then both of them were voices for reconciliation
Fascinating.
in the 33 years after the war, and then both of them at an advanced age ended up back in the Army in charge of combat units in the United States Army.
Well, you're just going to have to join us. You can sign up at either service desk. The class will take place at 10 a.m. Tuesday, July 25th, and we are going to be with Robert Maycomber. Please note that because of our ongoing renovations, this class has been moved to the Social Center, so we'll see you there.